Hey guys, Rich from Rich's Mowers and Blowers. Psh. Hey, we are going to be fixing up not one, but two lawnmowers simultaneously. So one is a Powermore engine, one's a Briggs and Stratton. They're both yard machines, get that. So stay tuned. Hey guys, so this is what we have to work with. This is one of those yard machines, Powermore. You know how those go. And something has worked its way through there. Whatever they got going on with that thing right there. Other than that, it does pull over. It is missing one of these over there. Right there. The handle was taken off because I put it in my truck and I took this off too. So that was me doing that. But it does pull over. It does have a blade on it. So the blade looks in pretty good shape on that one. Not too bad. Just they beat the crap out of these. Is what they've done. The handle is bent right here, so we are going to try to straighten that back out. And then machine number two is another yard machine. It's a 21-inch. Has a little bit different engine on it. Has this 675 Briggs and Stratton. So has that same stupid handle. We don't like those handles, but whatever. Now this one is missing its cover. And check out the blade. So the blade is definitely toast on that. Like I said, somebody's beat the crap out of these. But we'll see if we can get them going. Let's go ahead and check this air filter out. We'll work backwards here. So, and you can tell they've never changed the air filter. So guys, you gotta change this air filter to keep your machines running good. And we know it already has bad gas in it. So I did peek down in there. And if you could smell it, you would know it's bad. Let's check the oil out, see how they did on that. Which I imagine they've never changed it. So, as you can tell. So we'll be doing an oil change on it. And then let's go ahead and go over to the famous Powermore. It's the ones you want to stay away from, guys. These Powermores. Let's check this oil. If we can even untighten it. There we go. Yep, we'll be changing that oil out. And let's work our way over to the filter. And we know it has bad gas. Now both of these were sitting in a pole barn. So they were out of the elements, which saved them some. But they must have put them away dirty and they've just been sitting there. So you do have to clean your stuff off. Primer bulb. Not sure what happened to that. Check this air filter. Well, we can see it's not breathing very well. Yeah. That's typical of what people do. They mow them, break them, throw them away, whatever they do. These Powermores, they can't handle the stress like a Briggs can. At least that's my opinion. Just take that off. Alright, we're going to wash these up is what we're going to do. least try to get them clean enough to work on. And then we'll see you in a minute. Alright, well, they look a little cleaner, at least for now. So let's go and start with the Powermore one, because it had the best blade on it. So what we are going to do is drain the gas out. So there's quite a bit of gas in there. And to drain the gas out, we are going to take this hose off right here and let the gas drain out. Alright, we got the gas drained out and we put some fresh gas in it. Let's see if we can get it started. Give it some primer. Should be good. Hey guys, so one trick you can do, as I demonstrated there, you can push on your primer bulb until it almost stalls out. So start your lawnmower up, push on that primer bulb until the lawnmower almost stalls out, and this kind of flushes through, gives that rush of gas in there, kind of gives that surge, and it'll try to work out anything that's in there. But Rich, I don't have a primer bulb. Well, if you don't have a primer bulb, then you can do the same thing with starting fluid. So go ahead and start up your lawnmower, and then when you try to do that, instead of pushing the primer bulb, because you won't have one, you take the starter fluid and you start squirting it in there until it almost stalls. And that'll give it a little rev up, slow down, rev up, slow down, and hopefully it works out any little debris that could just be blocking it. And that a lot of times will save you from taking the carburetor apart. Well, we got it started, and doesn't want to restart unless it has prime. So if you prime it, it will definitely restart. Looks like it's also doing a little something with the oil up here. Maybe it had some oil in the muffler. And I think I figured out what this hole was. So if this was lifted up, like they were cutting tall grass, that pretty much lines up right there with the muffler. So they probably had this lifted up and it burned a hole right through it. That's what I'm gonna say. It's my best guess. And why it's not going back down, I don't know. we'll have to see about that. See if we can get it back down, but it does have that hole in it. Now the handle was shaking a little bit, but I don't have this completely fastened because it's missing the nuts on there. So both sides are missing the nuts, so it won't fasten in. So we'll have to fix that and then go ahead and we'll fasten these up, tighten those up. Alright, so what goes in here is the squared nut. That'll hold that into place. You just line it up there and slide it in like that. And then you'll put your screw down through there and it goes into the nut. So if you're missing your square nuts on there to hold this on, that square nut is called a 1/4-20. So go to your hardware store and get a 1/4-20 square nut, and that'll fix your problem. Alright, so what we got going on is it will start on pushing the primer, but it won't restart. So what I did is put a couple capfuls of seafoam in it. Yay! And we are going to test that out to see if seafoam will do the magic trick. Alright, we're going to prime it. Get it started. And we're going to shut it off and we'll see if it'll restart. Alright, let's try the restart. Over to mower number 2. And if you guys can see what I see right there, we know what the culprit is of the problem. So we're just going to go ahead and fix that. So to take off that plastic carburetor, yes, I did say plastic carburetor. There are 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go ahead and get those out of the way. Alright, once you get those 4 screws out, this will just come off, and it is hooked to a breather hose. So we'll see back here as I pull it off. See if I can catch it in the moment right there. So that breather hose is hooked right on there. Alright. There is what we are looking at. So your little plastic carb. Now it would be a little easier. Let's go ahead and remove this top thing so we have more room to get our little phalanges in there. And to remove that top thing, we've got 2 screws at the top right there, and then it'll just pop off. So for the ones that have never taken off this cover before, this one happens to be a T20 Torx. Sometimes they're Phillip heads, and then you loosen them up and this will just pull right up. So it's probably fastened right here in the center somewhere, and I can't do it one-handed, but there is something holding it right there. So if you need 2 hands to get it loose, go ahead, because you're not holding the camera. So we'll show you what's holding it right there. See that little hole? I don't want to tip this over too much and lose my screws out of there, but there's a little clip right there, and that is inside that hole. So you want to keep your stuff nice and neat so you don't lose it. So I kept the screws right in top of there, and I got the screws right in there. I got all my little bits that I needed. I thought I needed a Phillips, but it ended up being a Torx T20. Alright, so now we have room to put our hands in here and get a hold of stuff. Now there is going to be 2 linkages on this particular one. This is your auto choke. As you can see, that's what that moves. And then here is for your governor. So we have to take those 2 things off. This is your breather hose. So just remember where these go like that, because this could swing around and get lift up and get underneath there and be on the other side. So it goes on the back side of that. Alright, we will see how to do this. So you just pull this off. Once you took those 4 screws off, this is not even bolted on. It's just pushed into the engine. So as you slide it out, as you can watch in the back, it's just coming right off. So we want to work that loose, and it's going to come right outside this groove right here. So that's a track it can follow. So once we get this wiggled loose like that, there is 3 things that's holding it on. So now it's off of the engine, and the 2 wires are holding it on, and the gas line. Alright, so you got your gas clipped off. You got that pulled back there. Now you have your 2 linkages that need to come out. And what you're going to do is you're just going to kind of twist it to get it out. So see, it has like a little Z bend in both of them. So you can see that it comes down and then bends. We call that a Z bend right there. And then this one also has a Z bend in it. So you take that and you're just going to twist it, and then you're going to pull that top one out, that first one right there by the spring. Alright, it takes 2 hands to do it, one to hold the bottom of the carburetor, one to and give it a twist, and take your other hand and do it. Now this one here, since that one's out, you're just going to twist it, and it's going to come right out just like that. That's how you do it. And I got my finger over top of the gas here, so because you are going to leak a little gas. Alright, so now we have off our plastic carburetor. Now there is gas in it, so there's 2 bolts on the bottom here. See if I can swing it where we can see both of them at the same time right there. And you're going to take those off. So let's do that. So if you're not interested in looking at the gas, go ahead and dump it out. All you have to do is tilt it, and it'll run right out. That's what I did. I wasn't interested in looking at it. We know it was bad. So the 2 screws on the bottom, 7mm, just unscrew those. So as you see with this mower, it has a auto choke on there, and it has the 2 linkages. So sometimes maybe your mower might only have 1 linkage on there, and then it's a little easier to do. You only have 1 to worry about. So, but you just follow that Z bend, give it that little twist, and they'll come right out. Alright, so to take the bottom off is right there where that screwdriver is. You're going to pry right there, and this bottom piece will actually come right off. So as you see right there, that's where you pry it, and you can see it already starts coming apart. Once you pry it, it's just held on by an O-ring, so, and it might have some fluid in it, which it does, so all of it didn't drain out. So now if you want to look at the fluid inside there to see if there's any bubbles in it, so if there's water in your gas, it'll form at the bottom and it'll look kind of like a bubble. So at this point, I don't see any bubbles or any sign of being water in there. So it's just plain old bad gas. Next thing you want to do is you want to pull out this white thing right here. See that? Looks like it has a BB in it, in the bottom of it. You want to pull that white thing right out. What you're going to do is you're going to go from the side here, and you're going to put your screwdriver underneath that that's sticking over there. And you're just going to pry up on it very gently. And then when you pry up on it, this whole piece is going to come out. So, let's see if I got it. So there it is. It'll fall right out just like that. And that's what the piece we want right there. Now we need to clean this piece. So you can probably see it's kind of dirty right there. And this little hole down there. Anything that you can see that would be a hole. There's another one right there. And on the bottom looks pretty clean. So that's what we need to clean. And then this piece actually pops off. So if you want to take that piece off, you're more than welcome. It's the center piece, goes over. So it'd be, if you look at it like this, it would be a L shaped. So the center piece and over like a L shaped. That will come off. Alright, so we want to be able to see through that hole, which we can. And now we want to be able to see through that top hole as we can. See through that hole. Everything looks nice and clean. Now we can reassemble it. So when you put it back in, it only goes in one way. If you go to put it in that way, you can see it's not going in. So just flip it over and put it in the other way. Once you got it in there, you're just going to press firmly on it and it'll pop back into place. And you'll hear it snap in, and you'll see that it's setting down in there. Alright, now let's put the bottom back on, and it only goes on one way. So it popped back in there, only goes on the one way. Put the screws back in, and very important, if you're using a drill, make sure you set your drill to easy setting like that, so then you don't strip out your plastic. Be better off using just a regular driver on it instead of a drill. That way you're not tempted to strip it out. Now we do have this gas in here that we have to deal with to drain this out. So we got to go get a container, and we're going to tilt it down in there and unloosen the clamp, and it'll drain out the gas. Alright, so once we drain the gas, you can see down in there there's a bunch of sludge, so we have to take the gas tank off to clean that out. which there's some bolts up here on the top, and you just take those off. It's a 8mm. Alright, we got the 3 screws off, and this just comes right up just like that. Very easy. Now once you do that, then your gas tank will slide out just like that. And then we want to make sure we clean all that sludge out of there. Alright, see how the tank looks? What did I use to wash it out with? Good old tap water. But Rich, you'll get water inside there. It'll be in your gas tank. Well, we have a solution for that. So you're going to empty it out, right? Shake it out, get everything out. And you might have a couple little drops in there. You can move your gas tank around. You might be able to see some in there. And you'll be able to see it if there's some in there. And then we're going to take a paper towel and stick down in there, and it'll suck that water right up. So just like that, you just let that water that you've moved this and you got it to the right spot right there. You hold it like there. Put the paper towel down in there and let it do its magic. See the end of the paper towel's all wet? See, there's no more water in there? Perfect. Alright, we're going to put our gas tank right back on, just like we got it off. So these 2 little notches right there, 1 and 2, slide that back down in there. Just like that. We'll put our top back on. Let's grab that. Put that back on, put the screws back on. Hey guys, don't be afraid to use just plain water to clean something off like that gas tank. So just as long as you dry it out real good, if you're worried about it, let it dry overnight, or you can take an air hose and blow it off and get all that water off of there. But good clean water works wonders. So give it a try. So now we are ready to install the carburetor back in there. Now this thicker wire right there, this thicker wire, that will go in this back hole, and the thinner wire will go in this top hole up here. And you're going to want to kind of twist it a little bit like this to put it in there. Very simple, very easy. Then we're just going to push this back on. So we're going to hook up our gas line right there. We got these hooked back in there, and then we're just going to line it up and push it back right on to the engine like it was. There we go. All back to good. So our linkage is all hooked up. Gas line is, we have to move our clip on our gas line and then put it so it holds on right to the end. So there's our clip on there now. And if you don't have a pair of these bent needle nose like this, I suggest that is a great tool to have to get in there and do stuff like that. Alright, so now we have to get this cover back on there. So we're going to hook up that breather hose, and then we've got the 4 screws that go back in there. So if you don't remember, 2 silver ones go right there, and the 2 black ones go up there. You're back on. Now let's get the cover back on it. Remember, the cover is going to slip into that spot there. It's going to clip down on there. Then you got your 2 screws, which are a T20. Hey, changing out that oil is a must. Even though it says just add oil, never listen to them. Because who's just going to add oil? You need to actually change it out. When you change out the oil, take that air filter off and clean that out. Alright, so we got all that back together and we are going to change the oil. So how are we going to do that? We're just going to take the oil out, oil dipstick out, like that. And we are going to tip it over onto the bucket. So that's how we do it. Just let the oil drain out. Look how dark and black that is. Black gold Texas tea is what we call that. Now is a good time to look at the bottom. So as you recall, if not, this one has a bent blade. So hopefully the shaft is not bent. And try to look at it as it's spinning around. Now there's no gas in it, but you should disconnect the spark plug if you're under here spinning this around. There was so much caked grass on there that power washer didn't even get it all off, and that's like 2,700 or 3,000 psi, and I was holding it right up against it trying to get that off. So you can see this was a little bit abused. Let's go ahead and take this blade off. So I got a used blade that I can put back on there. It's already nice and sharp. So let's go ahead and reinstall that. So by now the oil should be all drained out of there. Looks like it's good to go. Let's put some oil in it. Alright, so these should take 20 ounces of oil, and I just used the old bottle, fill it up to 20 ounces and put her in there. That's my measuring cup. Alright, the oil's good in it. Put some gas in it. I gotta hook up the cable, brake cable to it. Right there. And then we'll be good to go. See if we can start it. Alright, let's get this one started up. See how we did. Alright, looks like we got her going. So that one looks pretty darn good. Now we did have to look at something with the air filter here. Alright, let's toss on a new air filter. That's what it's supposed to look like, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, this is Rich's Mowers and Blowers. Psh! Thank you for joining me on these 2 lawnmower fixes. We'll see you next time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, give me a thumbs up. Hey, and remember, psh!